I contacted the author of the blog. In fact, I contacted the author of the blog. In fact, I contacted the author of the blog. In fact, I contacted the author of the blog. And the author of the blog said that he has not given anyone permission to use his tables. He then, wait, let me finish. And then he asked me if I would tell him who gave him that, and I said I would not. Because what I'm not trying to get him in trouble, but I want you to understand, I will not tell him that. My goal is not to get him in trouble, but what I wanted to do, let me fit, you're interrupting. What I wanted, he's interrupting. What I'm telling you is, the reason why I called the author is because I wanted to see if he had poor citation. Because perhaps if the author had given him permission to use it, but he didn't include it in his book, that would be an issue, right? Because when you cite someone and use someone else's work, you have to say where it comes from and who developed it. That is the standard that every scholar on the planet uses. If you are not doing that, there are many issues, and some of them, yes, are legal. So I didn't want to involve him in legal issues. That would not have been right. But I want you to, wait, but I want you to hear that if he had spoken to the author and said, I have permission, I would say, then I would say, well, it was poorly cited. But the fact that the author did not give anyone permission means that that is plagiarism. And now I'm going to allow you to respond.
Okay, thank you very much for allowing me to respond. Let me hold the book again. So the first thing that I'm going to address is not what I really want to address. I'm going to only address two things, and I'm going to try to be under 3 minutes because we want to get a little bit more in of what we're trying to do here. So here we. You definitely didn't speak under a minute, brother. It was much longer than a minute. Just so you know, the length. Let me go, please. So let me say this. You contacted the author. And what you've shown so far is that one image, and you showed some other images, but you named a website that you got one image from, without pointing out whether or not the image is what we call legally public domain. And all you would have had to done, instead of doing what I'm gonna now be very poised in saying, is the agent-like thing of saying that I'm going to call the author, the owner, and I'm going to see if the brother plagiarized. Among a couple of things I definitely have some problems with, the poor use of what he's talking about. He says he's a scholar. He actually boasts of being a scholar. But anyone who knows legal language, you know that he's been misusing terms all night when he's spoken legally. When you're talking about an image, you're not talking about plagiarism. You're talking about copyright infringement. That's number one. I have the degree from John Jay, not you. Number two, when you're talking about plagiarism and you're pointing towards Flinders Petrie citation that I gave.
No, I didn't point to that.
Hold on, my brother, because allow me to finish.
Okay.
I pointed this Flinders Petrie citation that I made, that I showed in my book, and then you bring it to an image. That image had nothing to do with Flinders Petrie's citation, but you so cleverly, as Brother Garfield did on camera, you so cleverly passed off an image that had nothing to do with the citation that I made, as if the image is based on that citation, which was totally incorrect. So you did a horrible job at that. And the last thing that I want to touch on is this. When we get to a point in our community where there's contention on scholastic works that we produce, the brother called me in so many ways tonight, his brother. Don't you know that, and I want to look you in your eye because you're a man, and I want to look you in your eye as an equal man. Okay. Don't you know that as your brother, if I encountered your work and I felt that there was something scholastically unfounded in your work, the first person I would approach about that is you, not anyone else. If I thought that there was plagiarism in your work, the first person that I would speak to about that is you, because you're my brother. I would go to my brother first before I go to any outside source, because you are first my brother. That is the reason why I call it agent-like without necessarily calling you an agent. I don't think you're an agent, but I'm classifying the behavior as agent-like because I don't like terms thrown around as brother if we're not going to behave as such. Again, and maybe I could rebuttal too. Jabari, as my brother, just told us that he came across some information in my book that he felt was plagiarized, and he contacted the author. All right, so I apologize. I am redundant when I speak. I apologize for that. The problem that I have with that, Jabari, is the fact that you've thrown around the term brother all night. And the first thing that we know as brothers is that when your brother does something wrong, we do something that's called, we pull our brother's coattail. We tell our brother first. So if there's an issue with our brother, we first come to our brother. There is definitely a problem in the black community when we have issues with one another and we are going to the very same people who present a much bigger issue to bring about resolution. The more genuine act to have done was to present that to me and said, my brother, this bothers me, this worries me, and this is what I found, and how would you like to proceed with this, before you had done that. Now, I'm not saying that because there's any guilt associated with it, because there's any guilt associated with it, because I know every single image that I used in here, and I'm enunciating it on camera for the author you heard, because it's his fault that he entered into public domain. It's public domain, which i.e. is free use.
All right, now, hold up, Jabari.
All right, I watched... So the verse reads in the Hebrew, "Waidaber Elohim et kal hadebarim ha elei lemor," and God spoke all these words, saying. Let me move up to the next verse. Anoki Yehovah Eloheka asher hutzetika me eretz Mitzrayim mi beit avdim. I am the Lord your God who brought you forth out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. You let me know when you want me to stop, or I'll continue going until we come to the commandment you believe was stolen.
Well, I want you to actually start with the commandments.
Okay. Lo yiyeh leka Elohim achirim al panai. You shall have no other gods before me. I'll read on. Lo ta'ane leka fesel wekal temuna ashir ba shemayim mima'al va'ashir ba'aretz mitachat va'ashir ba'mayim mitachat la'aretz. You shall not make for any graven images or the likeness of anything that is in the heaven above, the earth beneath, or the water that is under the earth. Lo tishtakwe lahem velo ta'avdem. Ki anoki Yehovah Eloheka el Kwana, the jealous God. Proqued avon avot al banim al shilashim we al rivim lesonai. You shall not bow down yourself to them, nor shall you serve them, for I, the Lord your God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquities of the fathers upon the children to the third and fourth generation of them that hate me. Verse 6. We ose chesed la alafim le'ohovai ul shomrei mitzvotai, and showing mercy to the thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. Verse 7. Lo tisa et shem Yehovah Eloheka lashaweh, ki lo yanakwe Yehovah et asher yisa et shemo lashaweh. You shall not take the name of the Lord your God in vain, for the Lord will not hold him guiltless who taketh his name in vain. Zakor et yom hashabat le kadshehu. Remember the Sabbath day to keep Sheshet Yamin Ta'avod We Asita Kal Melaktika. 6 days shall you labor and do all your work. Yom Hashvi'i Shabbat La Yehovah Eloheka Lo Ta'ase Kal Melaka Ata Uvineka Uviteka Avdeka We Amteka U Behemteka We Georeka Asher Bish Areka. But the 7th day is the Sabbath unto the Lord your God. In it you shall not do any work. You, nor your son, nor your daughter, your manservant, nor your maidservant, nor your cattle, nor your stranger that is within your gates.
Are there significant different? I want to.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
You know what I'm
absolutely.
asking?
Yes, there are significant differences. Number one, the first commandment
between what?
The Hebrew and the English. Because you handed me a King James, and the King James will say, "You shall not have any God besides me." The Hebrew does not. Excuse me. The King James says, "You shall not have any God besides me." The Hebrew does not say that. The Hebrew says, "Lo yiyeh Elohim acherim al panai." You shall not have any El before my face. Al panai, before my face. What is the thought implicit with that? The Creator could have simply said, "You shall not have any gods." Period. And then the command would have been understood, some people would suggest. But he added the term al panai, before my face, to remind you that I'm watching.